Welcome back to Tired Old Queen at the Movies. I'm on my way to see Steve. Come on.
Johnny! You're surprised. Tired Old Queen at the Movies. Johnny, I thought I should recommend a movie that stars Sidney Poitier. And so I decided to do the first movie that he ever made in Hollywood, No Way Out, 1950, directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz. Joseph L. Mankiewicz had made a big splash the year before. He had written and directed a movie, a beautiful little sexual comedy called Letter to Three Wives, which took Oscars for direction and screenplay. He was also in the process of writing All About Eve, which would win the Best Picture of 1950 and Best Screenplay and Best Director. But in between these, he did this searing, scorching racial drama and starred Sidney Poitier. Now, Sidney Poitier was very young. He was in his early 20s. He lied and told Mankiewicz he was like 28 when they did this movie. And in it, he plays an intern at a metropolitan hospital who has to treat two convicts who are brought in after they've been arrested by the police. One of them is shot. He makes a decision to help the shot one, and the guy dies. His brother is played by Richard Widmark as the biggest, meanest, racist, bigoted guy you've ever met in your life.
Clean that up. Where's your mop?
Take him away.
Richard Widmark had made a huge success just 2 years before in a movie called Kiss of Death, where he played Tommy Udo, this snarling, sniveling little guy who pushes a woman down a staircase in a wheelchair. He goes through the whole movie like this.
Huh? You know what I do to squeeze?
It was his claim to fame. Anyway, in this movie, he hates Poitier from the very, very beginning. Now, the dead brother's wife is played by Linda Darnell, who was Fox's great beauty. She was also having a love affair at the time with Mankiewicz because he just directed her in A Letter to Three Wives. He decided to help her with her career and give her a really good, solid role.
Yeah, I've come up in the world. I used to live in a sewer, now I live in a swamp.
He deglamorized her, and she plays this gal who's just been used by every man she's ever met. And she befriends Sidney Poitier eventually, and she takes his side against Widmark, and it doesn't go down well. After this, the whole city erupts in racial tension. And it's one of the most searing and nasty situations ever done. This was a time when they were doing a lot of message movies. Right after the war, they did Gentleman's Agreement, which had won the Best Picture. It was about anti-Semitism. Crossfire, which also was about anti-Semitism. Intruder in the Dust, about the racial problem. Pinky, in which they cast Jean Crane as a light-skinned black woman. But for this one, they cast a really wonderful ensemble of great black actors and actresses. Ruby Dee, Ossie Davis, Mildred Joanne Smith, a lovely little actress, plays Sidney Poitier's wife, and of course Poitier. And even at this particular juncture, so early in his career, you can see what a major, major star he was going to become, and what a fine, fine actor he is. He brings such dignity and credibility to this movie. He said that Widmark was one of the shyest men he ever knew and one of the nicest people he ever knew. And Mankiewicz would yell, "Cut!" And Richard Widmark would say, "Oh, Sid, I'm so sorry I have to say these things to you. I'm so sorry." And he said, "That's okay, Dick. This is a movie. We're doing a movie. I'm not taking it personally." Oh. And it so affected Richard Widmark that he refused to play evil parts after this for a long, long time. This is not a pretty picture, but boy, it's a great one. You will be amazed. Sidney Poitier, Richard Widmark, Linda Darnell in Joseph L. Mankiewicz's No Way Out.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.